let us start. This is the lecture number 4. This is the lecture number 4. And we were continuing from the last, we are going to continue from the last class. We have, in the last class, we were actually talking about something, but we could not complete. So there are a few more slides that we are going to cover today. So today's class is going to, in a sense, it is going to be the continuation of the previous class. And in this class also we are going to see the similar kind of things that we were doing. So many of the things actually we were not able to cover that are also very important to understand that what is the error when you build a system. It is not only important that your system is working, but what is the accuracy, how good your system is. Last class we have seen that what is the building block of the machine learning things. Hope all these things are clear to you, that from my hypothesis space ML is going to do an experiment and going to give you a particular hypothesis and output. So here the issue is that if you have a function, let's assume that a function is that you actually come with and that is a hypothesis against the f. You want to see that at how many places they are actually similar. So two kind of operations you want to do most of the time. So one could be the classification, for example, whether the item is positive and my are negative, such as 0 or 1, right, not right, dog, cat. So if you want to do the classification, how can you find out that how good you are? So to know that, you have to find out that the places where you are if a particular item, for a particular item you compute that what is the answer from your system, and you compare that value with the actual value, actual ground truth. If these two things are not similar, if there is a difference, mean your item is +1 and you are telling -1, or your item is -1, you are telling +1, by your model is telling +1, then you say that it is going to be counted for the loss. So then the value is 1, otherwise the value is 0. You find out the summation of this particular term. And so essentially what it means that from all your database, let me also just to quickly tell you that you understand this particular fact, that if what happens that a database is given to you, a database is actually given to you on which you actually want to develop the model. So what you do, you actually separate out some of the parts. Okay, separate out some of the part. For this particular part, you say that this part I am going to use for the training, means this part you are going to utilize and show to the model to make it parameters, okay, to discover its right parameter. For the remaining item which are actually here, this is the test data set. So the X actually, whenever you are going to find out that how good your model is, you are going to see the things into the test, and you know that because of this kind of arrangement, these items are not shown to your model. Therefore, you can find out that how good your model is. So you can find out in this way that what is the classification accuracy. Any questions here? Most of the time we have this 80% of the data into the training and 20% of the data into the testing, into general machine learning setting. Normally we do. However, it is also possible that you take 90% data here, 10% data here. And nowadays when we have a deep learning scenario, then more data is needed for this, and lot of data is also available to you. So you take 99% of the data for the training and 1% for the testing. That is also possible. Okay. So then also it comes something that you may be thinking that if the data is there, how can I find out those 10% or 20% of the item for which I am going to do the testing? So you may randomly select. Okay, one method could be that you randomly select. Another method could be that since it is a 2%, 20% item, so you divide the database into 20%, 20% things. So there would be 5 such things, and first you use these things and for the training and this part for the testing, and into the next time you use you take this thing for the testing and rest for the training. Next time you take this thing for the testing and rest for the training, and by this you execute your algorithm 5 times. You execute your algorithm 5 times, and whatever a classification accuracy you have, you are going to report the average of that particular value. So this is also a standard way to do it. Okay, so we are talking about the classification accuracy. So if you want to find out the classification accuracy, first you have to understand that you have to pick the items from the training set, sorry, testing set, and then using those items, you want to find out that what is the loss, and this loss would be computed on the complete testing set, and then you tell that what is the percentage. In the case of regression, you know that regression actually gives you a value. So if some value is produced by your model, some value is produced by your model, and some value you know that that is a ground truth, then actually you want to minimize the difference. You want to be very similar to the value that is the ground truth. So you want to minimize the difference. So here you sum of square distances SSD is a measure that tells that you see first what is the difference and you take the square of that. Okay, so very important point is this, that and also it is a very technical term people talk about, that what is empirical risk minimization. Okay, what is the empirical risk minimization? So the point is this, that what kind of data is given to you? Only training data is given to you. Okay, only data that is given to you is a training data. Okay, testing data is actually not, whatever data is given to you, that is given to you for the training. Makes sense. However, we have seen that some part I am going to separate out for the testing. Okay, some part I am going to separate out as a testing, but you know that a word is very long. For example, even if let's assume that you want to develop a face recognition system, somebody gave you the images of say 10,000 people's images is given to you, and you are going to build a model on that. What would happen, that all this data is that is given to you, you know that they are from the Indian peoples only. So if you apply this particular model on the African peoples or some European people, the system may not work, or Chinese people, the system may not work that good. Okay, so and who knows that your system is going to be tested actually deployed for those peoples. Okay, so what happens, that whatever good you can do, you can only do good on the data that is provided to you. Okay, this concept is very important, and this concept is called the empirical risk minimization. Means whatever data is available to you, you only have the access of that part only, and you whatever good you can do on that particular thing only. Okay, makes sense? Any questions here? So that's why whenever we train our model, so the technical term is this, that we are going to minimize the empirical risk. Then this is what the risk and loss are the same thing. It is a different, just a different name for that. So you want to reduce the empirical risk. Okay, so some things from the statistics, and this is a very simple question for you. And let us solve this particular small question, and by this we will be going to understand some of the things that are there into the statistics domain. Let's assume there is a box, and in box there are 100 images. Okay, there are 100 images. Okay, and in some image there is line, and some image there is no line. It may be possible. Okay, and let's assume that you know that 30 of them contains line. How many images contain line? 30. And for the rest 70, I don't know, but line is not there. I have asked some computer, I have asked some computer system, say Bob, to separate all the pics of the line. I have I have given this particular box to him and asked from the robot that you take out the images where there is a line. He showed me 60. He take out 60 images, but line was not in 40 of them. Line was not in 40 of them. So whatever 60 images he have given, so I can divide in 40 plus 20. Okay, 40 plus 20, and this 20 is right. Okay, this 20 is right. This 20, because line was not in 40 of them, but in the 20 of them line was there. Looks like the line was there. This is right, and this is wrong. Okay, this 40 is wrong. These many images he have given to me. So I can create a table that is commonly known as a confusion matrix. I can create a table that is called the confusion matrix, that tells that what is the ground truth, what is the ground truth, what is the truth, and what is the experiment. So if you go into this particular direction, you actually you say that I'm not considering any experiment. What is the truth? I just wanted to understand. So okay, so if T means what? The places truth. What is the truth? That when there is a line, in how many images there is a line? There is 30 images where there is a line. Okay, we have just talked about that there are 30 images. False, what is the ground truth for the false? 70 images. If you see this thing from the experiment perspective, then you have to come from top to down, and this actually tells that if what is the truth, experimental truth, this 60 images that is given to you by the Bob, but they contains this 60 images that is given to you. What is the false images that actually your system, your Bob, your robot has told that they don't have the line images? How many of them remaining? So out of this, these 40 images are there. So everybody understand this particular table? Any questions on that? Okay. So in this setting, you know that what is this 30, 70, 60, 40, you understand. Now I wanted to tell you that that if you divide this thing, this 60, as I told you, this 60 is divided into 40 and 20. So out of them, you say that 20 is the images where he is right. So true is 20, true false is 40. Similarly, for the remaining images, how many images are there? 40 images are there inside this. And out of them, you can say that since 20 was here and total 30 images were there, so 10 images were there which actually contain the line images. So places where you told false but it was true is 10. The 10 places there were line, and here how many images are remaining? 30 images. For 30 are the correct classification, your correct classification. You have done the correct classification for these 30 items. So let me just quickly clear it and tell you some more technical stuffs over here, and that is hope this table is clear to you. So here you see that true means for these cases my system was true. Okay, this is the true. These false means the actually line was not there, and my system is also telling that the system there is no line. So here also my system is correct. Where my system has a problem? My system is a problem with this. Okay, he is telling false, but actually there is a line. Okay, he is telling false, my system is telling false, but there is a line. This is another kind of problem where my system is telling true, but actually there is no line in that. So this technically you may be knowing that this is called the type 1 error. Okay, it is actually accepting people. Okay, these images, my system has accepted that there is a line, but it was a false acceptance. It was a false acceptance. It was false that he has done. Similarly, these images my system has rejected. Okay, you are told that looks like that there is no line, but actually there was line. Okay, the ground truth says that there was a line, so it is false reject. Okay, it is a false reject. Okay, so what is true positive means how at how many places my system was truly telling the positive? 20 places. True positive is 20. Any question on this? Everybody, can you write yes? So it's a technical term. If I ask you in this particular setting what is the true positive, you would be telling 20. Any questions? Can you write yes or no? Yes? Fine? Okay. What is the true negative? How many places there is a true negative? When my system is correct in telling the negative, it is here. It is here 30. Okay. So the answer is 30. Everybody is clear? Type 1 error, as I told you, type 1 is false except that is that is false positive, that are 40, and type 2 error is a false negative, that is 10. So I want to ask a question that two kind of errors are there. One is a false accept and another is a false reject. Which of them is more severe? Which of them is more problematic? Type 1 or type 2? Type 1 or type 2? Type 1 or type 2? Can anybody tell? Type 1 is more problematic and type 2? 1 or 2? Type 1? So let me tell you, the type 1 is actually, you are correct. Type 1 is more problematic. Why type 1 is more problematic? Because he is the person who is not accepted, should be accepted. Because in those files, line was not there. But I was telling that there is a line. So if this system was deployed on the let's assume that on a on a in front of your house, and somebody who showed this particular image would be allowed to enter. So he would be allowing you the person who should not enter into your house, but he is going to allow them, because he is going to allow the peoples who are not authorized into your system. And what is the problem with the false reject? He is telling that the right person is coming, but he is telling that don't come into the room. This is also a problem, but here there is no harm to the system, because what happens now? Let's assume that you are standing in front of a room and you want to enter. The system says that no, you are not the right person. Okay, no issues, because you know that you are a right person. You would give your the second sample. You would tell that take another photograph of myself and try to find out. He would take another photograph and then he would enter. But what happens that to be very good into the system, you after once if no, what I wanted to tell that it actually gives you the inconvenience only. This second part only gives you the inconvenience. Okay, this false reject is only giving you the inconvenience, but this is going to give you a serious effect, because somebody enters into the system, what he does nobody knows. Make sense? It is only inconvenience, but this is destroying the system, because somebody getting access of your system who should not have the access. Okay, let's try to find out what is the accuracy of my system. You say that at these 20 place, 20 and 30, these are the two places where my system is correct. So the accuracy is 20 plus 30 divided by 100, that is 100%. Any multiplied by 100, not 100%, but you can see that what is the value, 50%. Then comes there is another term, precision. What is the precision? Out of the item that are given to you, how good you are. So you gave me 60 item, out of them 20 were correct. So 20 by 60 it is this 20 by 60 into 100%. What is recall? True positive recall. Then the terms recall, true positive rate or the sensitivity. It is the 20 divided by 20 plus 10. Okay, out of all positive items, how many items you are able to give me? So you are able to give me, the system was able to give me 20 things by its experiment, and how many total 20 total items were there, positive items were there, 30. So out of these 30 it was able to give me the 20 items, so it is 30 divided by 30 plus 40. F1 score is another measure most of the time people talk about. It is a precision plus recall divided by 2, and similarly F1 measure, it is another parameter that people talk about. It is called the harmonic mean of precision and recall. So all these things are important. If you have any question, please ask. No questions? No? Can you write no? So please go and try to solve some with the different values. Try to solve these things. And now I want to tell you a very important thing, that as we are talking about that, let's assume that there is a house and there is a robot or a computer system sitting over there. People are coming and they want to get the enter to the system. So you know that how the system could be, this kind of system could be made. You actually the system is going to have a kind of database. System is going to have a database where it is going to have the images of the people who are the right people. Generally we call it gallery. In the gallery or the database, it stores the images of the people who are authorized to be entered. Now when a new person comes, he takes the photograph and matches this photograph against the gallery, and the score with whom this with means this new image having the score with the having the highest score corresponding to the ID, he assumes that he is the same person. And if that this matching score is greater than some threshold, it tells that okay, you are the same person, you can enter the system. So here, what is the basic part of this particular system? The basic part is the finding out the matching score. If the two images are given to you or two samples are given to you, you want to find out that what is the matching score between the two images. So let's assume that you have an image A1, image A2, and you want to find out that what is the matching score between these two images. Okay, so matching score, however, the word is matching, so it may not be the same thing that it is similarity. If two things are very similar, then you know that if I give you the same image, this is also the image A, this is also the image A. What will be the matching score? It is 100%. If it is a similarity matching, you should understand. We can talk about the similarity, that how much similar they are. So the 100% similar they are. If I ask you that what is how much dissimilar they are, so how much dissimilar they are? 0%. Okay, so similarity and dissimilarity is actually just a reverse concept. So if you from the maximum value, if you subtract the similarity, then you would be getting the what is the dissimilarity. And most of the time we think that the score is normalized between 0 and 1. So similarity, if the similarity score is n, then dissimilarity is 1 minus s. Okay, so I'm just telling that in most of the cases only one, in all the cases either you would be using similarity scores or you would be using the dissimilarity scores, not the both. Okay, either you would be using similarity score or you would be using dissimilarity score. And similarity and dissimilarity just means this, that how similar they are or how dissimilar they are. Then there is a concept of genuine and imposter matching scores. What is genuine and what is imposter? So I think for that this particular image would help you. So I don't know that you can think that how many peoples are there in this particular diagram. How many peoples are there? This is the first person, this is second person, third person, fourth person, fifth. Five peoples. There are five peoples. Okay. So here we have five peoples, and this is the see. This is the first person, second image, third image, fourth image, fifth image. Second person's first image, second image, third image, fourth image, fifth image. Okay. So how many images we have? It is how many images we have? 5 into 5, 25 images we have. How many images we have? 25. Please type. 25 images we have. So if I am matching this image with this image, what would be the score? Let's assume that score is similarity. Okay, what would be the score? I don't know. Let's assume that 0.8. Okay. When I'm matching this image, when I'm going to match the same image with this image, what is going to be the score? Can anybody tell? Around 0. Okay, so let me call it 0.2. Okay, it would be 0.2. I want to tell you one more thing. Let's assume that let me just give them a name: Mr. A, Mr. B, Mr. C, Mr. D, Mr. E. Let's assume that they are this. And when this is the first image, second image, third image, fourth image, fifth image. So this particular 0.8 came from which? It is A1 is matched with A1 is matched with the A5. Okay, 0.8. Okay, this was the matching score of A1 is matched with the B5. Okay, this was the matching score. I want to tell you that if A1 is matched with the A5, as I told you, as you have seen that this was the score. If I ask you what is the matching score of A5 and A1, what is this? Can anybody tell? What is this score? 0.8. No, it could be anything. 0.6, 0.82. It may not be the same. So please note that the scores are not commutative. In general, they are not commutative until there is something special thing is applied. Whenever you are going to do the matching, it is not going to be like that. Matching could be something like this. For example, if if let's assume that there is a big thing and there is a small thing, and you want to match this item with this item, so it may, how much it is going to match? It is going to match 0.1, because even if everything is matching, it is going to be 0.1. But from here to here, it may be possible that everything is there inside. So this item is 100% matching. It may be possible. Can you understand this thing? So this is very important concept, that the scores are generally not commutative. When you find out the matching scores, they are not commutative. So, but if you understand this particular thing, please try to understand that it may be possible that when I'm going to match any of these images, that means the same person's image with the some his another time taken image, then it is called the genuine score. That scores would be genuine. When I'm going to match this person's image with any other person's image, then this kind of a score is called the imposter score. Is it clear? What is the genuine and imposter scores? Yes or no? Okay. Yes or no? Everybody understand that what is genuine and imposter? So very important thing, very important concept, that what is the genuine score, what is the imposter score. So input is, most of the time input is the two images that you go that you give to the system, and output is a score, and we normalize is between 0 and 1. So you can make the table of this particular kind. What is this table? That what is the identity? First people's first image is matched with the first people's second image, and it was a genuine matching. One means it was a genuine matching and score was 0.82. First person first image means this image is matched with the first person third image is matched with this image score, and it was a genuine matching because same person, and the score was 0.88. First person second image, this image, second person first image, this image, second person first image, it was a imposter matching because same person is not being matched, score is 0.48. Third person second image, third person second image, this image, and second person fourth image, second person fourth image, when they are matched it is also a imposter score, and the score is 0.32. So in this way you can find out that what is this particular, what is the matching score. Is it clear to everybody that how to create the matching score? Okay. And now if you separate out all the genuine scores and separate out all the imposter scores, you can plot their histogram, matching scores, and probability means what is the probability of that particular score. So it is just a saying the finding out the particular score, finding out that what is the probability. That is not very difficult to know that, because how many values you have, total values, and then you divide and try to what percentage of the items are there. Here we are assuming that score is similarity. Okay. So if I take the genuine scores only genuine peoples who have the scores, means when I am matching the same person's image with his image, when this image is matched with here, this image is matched with this, so those kind of scores are genuine score. And try to see the histogram, it comes out to be this. And if I take the imposter scores and try to see that what is their histogram, it comes out to be like this. Okay, the probability of a particular score. Yeah, here I am representing the probability of a particular score. It comes out to be like this. Any questions on this? Any questions on this? No. Okay, so so if I want to decide, because if let's assume that somebody tells that score is 3.8, now I have to tell whether they are those images are of the same person or the other person. Okay, so how can I decide this? I have to go to the particular threshold. I have to, on a particular threshold, I say that if the value is, if your matching score is greater than this, then I say that okay, those peoples are actually matched. If your value is less than this particular value, then I say that no, these two peoples are the different peoples. The threshold is very important, because you can, if you analyze this particular threshold, you would be able to see that if you just consider this particular curve, this is for the people who are right peoples, but you can see that below threshold there are some values which are actually below threshold. So these kind of peoples who, these kind of scores, when they come, it is going to be rejected because it is less than this threshold. So this, it would be rejected. Okay, rejected means those people would not be allowed to enter to the system. Similarly, a very strong thing is this, that this is the imposter score, and you can see that these scores are actually higher than the threshold. So these peoples are getting access to the system, so they would be accepted. What do I mean by this? They would be accepted, and you know that this is a wrong thing, because their score is actually imposter score, but they are accepted. So we call it false accept. False accept. Similarly, it is a false reject. Okay, here also the people are rejecting, here also the peoples are rejected, but they are the imposter peoples rejected, then we don't have any problem. Similarly, these peoples are accepted, so they no problem with their acceptance, because they are the right peoples who are accepted. But these are the two places where we have errors. So two type of errors we have just previously also we have talked about this, that two types of error are there. One is a false accept, and another is a false reject. And most problematic thing is this false accept, not the false reject, because with the people, and the right person is actually denied the entry, he would fight and give the another thing. but the wrong person getting entry would go and enjoy and do whatever he thinks. So that is not a right thing. There is another notion that is called the receiver operating curve, and this is a curve. You know that here in this particular graph itself, you you may think that if you want to reduce the false acceptance, what you should do. One thing is this, that you change the threshold. If you change the threshold to this, then the false acceptance would be smaller. If you want to even smaller, you take this particular threshold. But you can see that as you change this thing, your false reject earlier, which was this, now it becomes this much. So they are inversely related. When you reduce one thing, the another thing increases. False acceptance and false reject things are inversely related. So if on one if I plot a curve of the false reject and false accept, so here in false acceptance rate and on the y axis false reject rate. So when the false acceptance is 0, then false rejection is 100%. So you can see this kind of graph, and this particular curve is called the receiver operating characteristic. Any question on that? Here the area that is below this particular curve is it actually represents the error. So if the two systems are there, so the system having lesser area at that particular place would be a better system. Okay, if this is the one system and another system is this, let's assume that this is another system. So this the error for this particular system is this. So which is the better system? If I call sorry if I call dashed one as a matcher B and continuous line as a matcher A, so then which is better, A or B? Which is better, A or B? Which is better? Can you tell me? A seems to be better. Okay, A seems to be unconditionally. A seems to be better. Here comes a very important point that is called the equal error rate. Very important point comes that is called the equal error rate. What it tells that that if you draw a line at the 45-degree, then this is the place where this cuts to the curve. Okay, so let's for now assume that there is only one curve. Okay, so this is a point that is called the equal error rate. What does it mean? That if the false acceptance is this, then the false rejection is also having the same value. Okay, it is because of the 45-degree. Then on this particular point, false acceptance and false rejection are the same. So if sometime if we want to consider and you know that how this graph has been plotted by changing the threshold. If you change the threshold, then different points you are going to get, and the point when false reject and false accepts are same, that particular point is called the equal error rate point, and the value of the false accept and false reject divided by 2. Okay, FAR plus FRR by 2 is the CRR. And you know that as I told you that FAR and FRR are same, so you can take either FAR or FRR, both the values are going to be same. But sometimes when the value it is difficult to find, because if less number of points are there, then you may not find out the point where those things are same. Then in that case you can take the half and you can report the average. Okay, any questions here? Say no, then I would continue. And if you have a question, please ask. So everybody understand what is FAR, FRR, what is EER? Everybody understand? Say yes. Nobody is writing. What is ROC? Okay, ROC, as I told you that ROC is a receiver operating characteristic curve, and this is the curve. When you plot between FAR and FRR, then this curve is called the ROC. Okay, okay. So I started by this. Okay. Now I want to tell you, and now you also know that if two things are given, you can tell that which one is a better in general. Okay, what is EER? Now I wanted to tell you that that is a very important thing. I'm going to tell you that sometime our operating requirements are different. Okay, so, such as if I'm going to apply a system into the defense. Okay, into the defense area. So defense area, it is very important that nobody should introduce the system. Okay, false acceptance is a big problem. So should I have the threshold here or here or here? Where should I have the threshold? You know that if you move this line, threshold line, as far to the right, then the number of people which are falsely accepted, false accept rate, they are going to reduce. Okay, here the false acceptance is this much. Okay, let me remove it and tell you that if this is the line, then this much peoples are false accepted. If this is the line, then this much peoples are false accepted. In the defense system, I don't want to let anybody enter to the system who is wrong. So for the defense system, my threshold should be high. My threshold should be high. Make sense? Say yes. Yeah. For the defense system, my threshold should be high. But if you are going to apply this face recognition system for example, into railway platform, okay, then what would happen? Then the system is then if you start doing this thing, then many other peoples would be rejected, because you know that when the threshold is high, many other people are rejected. Into the defense system, somebody is rejected, he can try another because you have time. But at the railway station, he don't have the time. So you sometimes can reduce this threshold and tell here, okay, I would be able to accept this particular thing. So at the railway station, the people's places where less security, relatively less security is required, then you can apply, you can reduce the threshold, and you can get the system. So my question is, I am going to ask a question very important, that for the defense system, A is better or B is better? For the defense system, this should be the threshold. And in here, I can see that the system, which system is better? Because which system is better? System B is better. Who is better? System B is better. But for the places, where such as railway station, when the threshold is this, then the system A is better. Then the system A is better because here it has a lower error. Okay, so earlier we have answered that which particular system is better. We have told that in general A is better, but based on the requirements, if the requirement is such that it is a high security requirement, then B is better. Okay, so this ROC curve is very important in that particular sense to deciding that what to do. Any questions here? Now I wanted to tell this particular slide, and that is a very interesting slide that tells that, let's assume that in your database there is an 4 peoples A, B, C, D. Okay, and you have one image of A, one image of B, one image of C, one image of D, and somebody comes, and let me call it A comes, let's assume A comes, and you don't know that he is A, and he has given another image A dash, and you have matched his image with all other images, and whatever the score you got, you are going to arrange in this particular, you are going to arrange on this particular thing, because 4 images were there, so you have actually arranged them. So highest score is with A. So who is that person? He is A, because if you find out the scores and you can tell that highest score is A, therefore I am going to recognize him. This recognition or identification, this identification would going to give you that he is A. Make sense? Another image came B dash. You have matched with all the things which are stored over here, and you find out this particular order. Who is he? He is B. Okay, another image came. This is the score. All the scores are arranged into this particular order. Who is he? He is C, because highest value is this. Okay, who is he? He is C. Why you are not typing? Please type. Okay. Another image came. You arrange. You got these scores. So who is he? He is D. Okay. So in every case, you can see that in every case you are going to tell. So what is your correct recognition rate? CRR, correct recognition rate. It is 100%. You are 100% correct. You are 100% correct in in the identification. But what is your false acceptance and false rejection rate? So you cannot answer this question until you have a threshold, because FAR and FRR, if you want to find out false acceptance rate and false rejection rate, you have to apply a threshold. Let's assume this is my threshold. If this is my threshold, then this person would be accepted. Even when the D's image came, two values are here. So these he can be given the access of the system as a D also and as a also. If he says that I am A, take this image, he would also be given access. Similarly, in this particular case, his score is below. So even if the highest score is with the B, but it is less than threshold, so he would not be able to permitted to enter to the system. So what is the false rejection rate? False rejection rate. Okay, false rejection rate is you have to find out that uh, how many how many matchings you have, how many genuine matchings you have done. Okay, and out of them how many of them are rejected. Okay, what is the false rejection rate? So you can see that this particular slide, I just wanted to tell you that this particular slide is only to tell you that the system which has 100% of CRR, the system which has the 100% of CRR, even when we use a threshold, we have the FRR and FAR. Okay, there are FRR and FRR, and you have to find out using the threshold methodology that how many matchings you have done, and based on this how much people are rejected and accepted. So even if with the 100% CRR your system has a error. Make sense? So ultimately your objective is to minimize the misclassification. When you develop a system, you want to do the minimize the misclassification, and therefore you number of mistakes, the probability of mistakes. What is the probability of mistakes? That we have just discussed, that if the item is of one particular thing and you are telling that to have a different class, and if item is from the R2 class and you are telling that it is of this C1 class, these are the two kind of errors that you can do, we have just talked about. So you want to reduce the misclassification error. Okay, now I want to talk to you a very interesting story, that sometime what happens now, we want to make the very highly accurate system, but we don't think that what is the effect of the error. Okay, so let me this particular problem is an extreme example that gives you, let me give you, this says that I can give you 99%. Let's assume that you have a problem that the classifier, you want to make a classifier for terrorists trying to board a flight. Okay, let's assume that on the airport there is a airplane, and people are coming line up, they are coming to enter, and you are going to make a gate. This gate would open, that if this person who is standing in front of the gate is not a terrorist, and then gate would open, then he can go and board the plane. Problem is clear? So your system is here, that whether the gate is going to open or not. So and you want to make this very highly accurate. So how would you do? You would general thing is that for this person you find out what are the properties, and so many properties could be there. Maybe his history, his I don't know, that multiple things related to him can be collected. That what he have done into the past, and so many things can be treated and fed to the system, and the system is going to tell you that he is going to open or close the door. How can you make it? So I claim that I can give you a 99% accurate model, and the model is very simple, that you can compute in your head, means you need not to do any computation, and it has an accuracy of 99%. And what is that model? That whenever the person is coming, you say that no, he is not a terrorist, and let him enter. What is the accuracy of this particular system? What is the accuracy of this particular system? Accuracy of this system is you should know the fact that 80 million average passengers on the US flights enter to the per year. Okay, and only 19 were confirmed terrorists who boarded to the US flights into the 2000 to 2017. Okay, so if you every time say no, then what is your accuracy? 99.999999%. You are very good. So is your system good? The answer is no. You cannot neglect which side the error is. So very important part is this, that whenever you are developing a system, sometimes it may looks like that your system has a very high accuracy, but you should know that the places where the person is, my system is going to do the error, what is that place? Okay, and that is also important. And let me give you this example. That's a very interesting example that tells that I was telling into the previous example, we were talking about that when your hypothesis function given the x was going to c1 c0 x0 plus c1 x1, this kind of thing. Okay, c plus c2 x2, this kind of function. Let's assume that this x is only univariate, only one value is there. So definitely you cannot have the more terms over here. So only this term is going to be given to you. Let's say here in this example, I'm assuming that x is going to have only one value. Okay, so one constant you can take. So you can say that c1 plus c0 plus c1x. This is what my hypothesis function, and now I want to discover these two parameters. Okay, this was the thing that we have till now discussed. Now I wanted to tell you that instead of this thing, you may attempt to say that why not c1x plus c2x square, I can use it. It could be a better function. And if I say that c3x cube, I can also write like this. So multiple functions are possible. Let me tell you that what would happen if you do these kind of things. Here in this example, actually this example says that there is a sine curve. There is a sine curve. Let's assume that this is the ground truth data. This is the right data that should be there. But as I told you that you are collecting the data because of some, due to some observations, this particular value becomes this particular value becomes this particular value becomes this. So it would be near to this thing. There would be some problem also, but the value would not be on the line of sine line. So if you apply that m is equal to 0, you say that only constant. What is m? I say that my hypothesis function is going to be c0 plus c1x plus c2x square dot 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 plus cm xm. Let's assume that this is the function that I'm going to use. If the m is equal to 0 means I'm going to use the constant, then you can see that is it a good model? Answer is no, because every time lot of errors is there. This is what the error that I have, because this is the difference that I am going to get. If m is equal to 1, you can say that this is the equation c0 plus c1x. Then this you can find out this line. This line is better line because best line is this. How much error? This error for every data point. You can find out that how much errors they have. So you can find out the summation of square values of this. You can say this. If the m is equal to 3, then you would be getting this curve. Okay, I think red curve is this. Then what is the error? The error is this. Okay, this is the error. This is the error. Okay, I think the points with the red one. I'm going to find out the error. This is the error. So it is better. When the value of m is equal to 9, you will be getting this curve. Then what is the error? So everywhere it looks like that it fits on the curve itself. So here the error is 0. Here is some value, say 0.2. Here the value is 9.5. Here value is 100. More error. So because we are actually minimizing this squared error function. So which model is better? Which model is better? Which model is better when the m is 1 or 2 or what? So you can think that looks like that the error is 0. Error is 0 in this particular case. But this is not a right model, because model how my model was this. How I model was this, but you are coming with this kind of function. So you are coming with a totally different function. Here you can see that this was my true function, and my model is also giving the similar function. So this looks to be the right. This doesn't looks right, because here you can see that this was my true function. My model is this, but it has some error. So what happens that if you, by this particular thing I wanted to tell you, that if you increase the value of m, that is the model becomes very much good. Means that when the error is very less, you can see that in terms of, because you are only doing the, as I told you, that empirical risk minimization, and this only leads you that when you minimize the empirical risk, this only leads you toward the reducing the error. And if you only focus on the reducing the error, this seems to be the best model, but it is not the best model. Why? Because you can see by yourself that your function was this, your true function was this, but you are coming up with this kind of function. This is not the function that was there. Looks like that this is the best function. So only don't consider the error. Other things you should also consider. Make sense from this particular slide. And when the model is more complex, then most probably your error is going to reduce, but this model would actually not be representing the actual function. Make sense? So this is the similar thing, that when you increase the size of this 9 says that what is the how much powerful my model is. If the model is more powerful, then the error on the training data that is given to you actually reduces and becomes 0. But on the testing data, on the unseen data, your error actually initially reduces, but after that it increases very large. What happens here? This is a standard thing called overfitting. Overfitting. This is called the overfitting. What happens at the end? It is called the overfitting. Very important line, that it is called the overfitting. So if you increase the model, it is there is a risk. If you increase the power of the model, there is a risk that the model you would be overfitting. Okay. So one more thing that is need to be told to you, that whenever I'm going to develop a model, say, and there are parameters, say w0 plus wnx plus w2x squared dot 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 dot. So these weights are very important. If you know that, because weights are multiplied with the features things over here. So if the weight is higher, means what? That particular component is very much important. If in your training what happens, some weight becomes very large, what would happen, that your model is very much dependent on that particular attribute itself. So sometimes you don't want to do this. So this particular table actually shows that when m is equal to 0, the constant is this. When m is equal to 1, the constant is this. M is equal to 6, the constant is this. When m is equal to 9, you can see that many of the constants having the very large value, and this is not a good thing for the model. And when we want to when we say that no, the values the model constants should not have the larger value, then it is called the regularization. And here into the regularization we add one more term, and that this what is the value of weights, and we say that a norm of weight square should also be counted into the error. So what would happen, that whenever error are lost, so if you want to reduce this particular quantity, so not only that your values are going to near to the ground truth, your weights are also going to be reduced. Why you, once again, why you want to reduce the values of weights? Because if the weights are very large, then corresponding corresponding feature point, that particular feature attribute, corresponding feature attribute would be very much dominating, and the behavior, and the other feature actually becomes they don't have any much saying into the classification. So that's why we sometimes we add one more term, and that term is called the regularizer term. And if you apply the regularizer, then what would happen? Then the value would these values are not going to get increased. However, if you have more data, for example, if you have only this much data, then what I wanted to tell you, that let's assume that these are the data items you have, okay, and you increase the model size n is equal to 15. So earlier you have seen that when the data item was only 9, you have seen that this weird kind of behavior function came. But when the data becomes 9, when more data items are there, then it is, even if by fitting everything, it is going to be of this kind. And if when you have lot of data items, then what would happen? Then it would be very similar to the same thing. So if lot of data items are there, then it helps in regularization. Okay, having more data helps in regularization. So automatically it is get regularized. So this is also a very important slide that tells you that if the data items are more, then you are regularized well. This is a very important slide that I wanted to tell you, and actually this is one of the final slides that you should try to understand. Okay, very important slide it is. So here what I wanted to tell you, that if you divide all the here inside here on the x-axis, it is a training error. okay, and y axis it is a testing error, okay. And let's assume that I divide this particular space into two parts, only four portions are there, here low low, here high, here low and high. So what is this particular place? When you start your system would be somewhere here, because high training error na, you have not trained, so high training error would be there. If you test that thing on the testing data, it would also have the high testing error. Make sense? Can you write yes? Can you write yes? Yes, okay, very good. Try to understand that when you started your things are not trained, so it would have the high error. So you are on this particular slide, and if you test the same thing on the test, it would also have the high error. So what you want, you want that somehow it should reduce and you come here, because on the training data, even if your error is high, it doesn't mean anything problem, any you didn't have any problem, because on the testing thing it is right, okay. If you are not able to answer the thing into your class, no problem. If you are able to top the IIT exam, okay. Testing means IIT exam, this is the what you are speaking in the class. So you not speaking in the class is fine if you are able to reduce the error over here. Everybody understand that what is this particular place, that here what is this particular place, the testing error is low, training error is high, I don't have any problem, I'm happy here. I'm happy here or not? I'm happy here or not? Say yes. I'm happy here because my error on the outside thing, on the training side things is less, okay. But on the on the training my error is high. But you cannot reduce this thing, why? You cannot come from here to here, because you don't know that how to come from this particular place to here, because only this particular training data is given to you. So you have to come into this particular thing. If you are coming into this particular thing, what is going to happen, that your training error is becoming lesser. You are very happy, okay, your error is reducing, because this is the data that is shown to you. On that you are measuring that, okay, my error is reducing. You see that your error is reducing, you're very happy that your error is reducing. If you come from this side to this side, you on the training data you are very happy, okay, my system is learning. But when you test, you see that your error is high. This is not a good thing. What you want to do then you want to do something so that you come into this particular direction, okay. Because you don't know how to come into this particular direction, you don't know, so you try to come into this particular direction, and then what would happen, that you reach to this particular place. So if you, even if you do the maneuver into this particular direction, it actually means that your error is your training error is reducing, but your testing error is high. Then this is not acceptable thing. Try to come up into this particular thing, and this is only is there in your hand. So this I don't want to be here, because you started from here. This is the best place, but you don't know how to come over here. If you go into this particular direction, it has a risk of overfitting. So but this is the even better choice. So you try to come up into this particular direction, so that your training error is also reducing and testing error is also reducing. At the end you are going to be reach to the final solution. So thank you very much.